Motherfuckers. So this episode is weird because my computer decided to take a giant shit while we were recording it, and I didn't catch it in time. So there's a lot of time that's missing. So we just kind of enter into the conversation at a weird point, and we missed a bunch of amazing shit that Jen said, but I wasn't gonna make her repeat it, and I didn't catch it in time anyway. So, yeah, I mean, we're just gonna have to go into it. Guess deal with it the best we can. The only thing that I need to say ahead of time, for context, we talk a little bit about Josh Capati, who is Jen Capati's sister and a close friend of mine as well. So she mentioned that earlier, but it's gone, so whatever. Here we go. Motherfucker, the hilarious and wonderful Jennifer Capati. Remember those juice barrels that we used to get as kids as well?
Oh my god. That are just packed with sugar?
Yeah.
It was just sugar. There was no flavor. It was just sugar.
I was just thinking about those. Apparently they cure hangovers.
Yeah.
Do they?
Because there's so much sugar there, it shocks your body awake. It shocks you.
Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking about this today. I used to get those all the time. Those and the little bug juices. Like we had to pop off the little plastic top, and then, yeah, those are the best.
Oh my god, Josh and I's parents would just deprive us from sugar.
Sugar, yeah.
They would just keep, and then when they had sugar, we were only allowed a few. Yeah. Which is, great because I appreciate vegetables and shit and stuff like that, but when I got out of the house, it was no holds barred. I was fuck. I was eating ice cream for breakfast.
That's the...
I was well, I'm an adult. No one can tell me what I can do.
That's the problem with parents who are too strict, is that there's a line. There's too strict and there's too loose. And the thing with too strict is that's why there's so many Mormons who are doing porn. And there's so many, you know what I mean? Because when you hold people in like this, when they're finally given the opportunity to do whatever they want, they fuck everything up and they go really crazy.
Yeah, no, my mom was gonna put me in all girls Catholic school, and my dad stopped her because of that. She's going to be wild.
Yeah.
He said.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm still, but I think I would have been way worse.
Yeah, for sure.
If I were to be raised in a Catholic boarding school.
Fuck that.
Oh my god.
That would be weird. So what's really funny is I was thinking about this because you were coming on the podcast. The earliest memory, and I don't even know we didn't meet at this time, but as creepy as this sounds, I first acknowledged your existence. And met, I guess is the best way to say it, or met you, not met you, but saw you.
Okay.
In 2011.
Wow.
Which
really?
was
I don't even remember.
Because in 2000, we didn't shake hands or anything, but in 2011 you played and revived the radio.
Oh my god! Someone shoot me.
I saw you at the Nile, on the main stage.
Oh god! Someone saved me.
Do you remember that show?
You're opening memory boxes, and I really wish they would just stay closed. Yeah. I wanted to just hang out with my brother. I was like, dude, let me in your band. And then he's like, oh, I guess you could be the bass. And I didn't know how to play bass.
Yeah.
It wasn't
that
even
was apparent. Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, nobody could play their instruments in that band. I've told this. It's so funny. I think it was a blue bass, if I remember correctly. But I don't remember. But I remember I remember that I've told this story a bunch of times, but you guys the band wasn't good, but I wanted to be in a band with Josh even all the way back then, because the band that I was in, no one was talking to each other and it was boring. But Josh, they weren't good, but they were having a lot of fun, and you could tell they were having fun.
We were having a good time.
And that's why I was like, fuck this. I don't want to be in a band that's okay, but doesn't have fun. I'd rather be in a band that sucks, but it's having so much fun.
Yeah, but guess what? Now you're in a band that fucking rules. And you're having a good time.
Yeah, which is nice. But I remember Josh walking around his pantsless, and the security guard had to tell him to put his pants on and stuff. And I was just watching from afar, what a crazy person. But yeah, I remember seeing you on stage all the way back then and being like, oh, his sister plays bass for them? That's cool or whatever. But yeah, that's so. Anyway, so I just had to like mention that.
That's so funny. I thought it was that was
funny.
Great times. My we just got into a lot of weird trouble.
Yeah.
No, we never got in trouble, but we got into crazy things. Like my brother would yell things out. I don't know.
I know about that.
Yeah.
Yell things out the window.
I'm always the driver, and we would get into car chases and like people. And and I've never gotten a ticket. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Like, for some weird reason, God wanted us to experience this. If there is something out there controlling, they wanted us to, like, get away with this and, like, fuck around.
Oh, yeah, he would, like, throw water bottles at people and, like, water and all that kind of... Oh, yeah, I know. His shenanigans were ridiculous.
And I'm so glad that he doesn't do that anymore. That was exhausting.
He's, like, 22, so I'm glad that he's not doing that anymore.
It was exhausting hanging out with him.
Yeah. I remember he showed me the Bang Bang Boys Club.
Yeah, Bang Bang Boys Club.
But anyway, so that's... I don't want to fucking talk about him. So...
But he is my brother.
I know. We can talk about him if you want, but I want to talk about you first. Okay. So, other than like Sarah Silverman, obviously that's who you were, which is who you were interested in originally. Like, who are your favorite comics? Right? Like, who do you pull influence from right now?
Right now,
like working on stuff.
Okay, so yeah, the one-liners, Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah, Mitch Hedberg.
Okay, so at the moment, there's like this weird thing going on that I'm noticing, and it's probably been around for many years, but plagiarism in stand-up comedy is like really apparent now because of Amy Schumer. So lately, and for a couple years, I'm only a young comic and I'm very impressionable, so I try not to watch too many other greats.
That makes sense.
But I do enjoy watching. I love Rory Scovel.
I don't know him.
Oh God, he's from North Carolina. He does like these crazy little he like act outs. Like he inspired me to be really physical. And you know, sometimes I don't even like sometimes I like sketch comics. Like I really pull from Chevy Chase.
Yeah, Chevy Chase is hilarious, or was hilarious.
He does this thing where
What?
He was. Oh,
yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I keep hearing that he's a dick now.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It sucks.
Of course he's a dick.
I saw him on Community. It was funny on Community.
I mean, because he did so much cocaine that you got to fall from it some.
You know, you can't. Crash.
This is him crashing, and he's angry at the world.
He's like 80 though, so I mean, he
get
had a
better,
good run.
Chevy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I like his style because he's physical, and he has this thing where he always fucks up a situation. Yeah. He always messes up a situation, but he does it in like the most endearing, charming, cute way.
Yeah.
I like to try to project that in my comedy because I say a lot of dark things.
Yeah.
So in order to lighten up what I'm saying is to say it with a smile.
Yeah.
And to say it in a clumsily way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And people really enjoy that.
Yeah, dark comedy is easily like my favorite. Like I've always loved guys like. The first comedian that I fell in love with, I mean, here's what's embarrassing, and I've never talked about this with anybody before, but when I was younger, I always liked stand-up, and I'd watch whatever stand-up was on Comedy Central, and I would just enjoy it, and then I kind of move on with my life. Mm-hmm. The first stand-up CD that I ever owned, and I don't count like Weird Al. Weird Al was comedy, but it's not stand-up, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
The first stand-up comedy CD I had was the Blue Collar Comedy Tour.
Oh, yeah.
With Bill Engvall, Jeff Foxworthy, Larry the Cable Guy, and Ron White. And like
when you're a redneck when.
Exactly. So when you're like an 11-year-old kid growing up in Farmersville, Ohio, that shit was hilarious.
Yes,
like it was
oh my God.
so funny. And then I got older and I was like, ugh. But I mean, I still think Ron White's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. But, I love Anthony Jeselnik.
Anthony Jeselnik's great too. Yeah.
He had to stick with that shtick for a very long time in order for people to catch on because I think I watched a really short YouTube documentary on him where he performed and he fucking bombed.
Really?
And he got off stage and he was like really angry at the crowd for not laughing. Like he's calling them an idiot. And obviously it worked in other places, but he quoted like Rodney Dangerfield. It's like you have to be a tank. You just have to keep going.
Yeah.
Like just not pleasing people and just doing what you like to do. I fucking love Anthony. And then I saw him recently when he came in town
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was just great.
I don't know anything. Okay, so like I'm huge into like stand-up comedy, like podcasts, and I'm really into the Joe Rogan Experience and all that shit. But I've never like Anthony Jeselnik doesn't do that kind of stuff.
No.
Like I've never heard him talk normally. I've never heard him like, It's just funny because most comedians I've seen interviews with, or I've heard for some reason with Anthony, I've never seen him talk, so I have no idea what he's actually like. But his stand-up's fucking hilarious. Like
did you watch his show?
I've only seen I just know his 2 specials.
Yeah, but as far as like the more relaxed version, like someone that's just hanging out and talking. Yeah, I've never heard.
Yeah, like, and I like I mean, he has that bit about his grandmother committed suicide by jumping in front of a bus, and he's like, but I knew what was really happening. She was stopping civil rights. Yeah. Like, that's fucking hilarious. It's smart as hell.
Yes.
Like I really don't, but like. I got hardcore into George Carlin, and I'm still
That's great.
Like to the point of like.
He's a great guy. I said it like
he's a great guy, good pal.
He's a great guy.
But I have like literally every single thing he's ever recorded. I've got like memory logged, every bit, everything. Like I was super obsessive over George Carlin, and then guys like that like Ricky Gervais and
I love him.
Like Jim Norton and like the really irreverent kind of dark cringe guys. Mm-hmm. But. Like, the thing is with me is, for some reason, and maybe you can enlighten me on this, I don't know a whole lot of, like, I don't know a lot of female comics that, like, because a lot of the female comics that I've heard are just kind of like did I tell you about my vagina? Like, say, like, female comics, that's, like, the thing now. Like,
I've noticed, and, this is on a podcast.
Okay. You don't have, I can delete it.
No, it's okay. It's just because the way I see it, like, I fucking love... When Whitney Cummings started, when she first started, she was an absurdist, and she did, like, little short misdirections, and I love them. But now that she's older, she's, like, doing this womanly thing, like... God, I hate saying this. But they do a lot of, like really feminist, strong roles.
Okay.
Like,
Am I Right, Ladies? That kind of stuff?
Yeah, like... trying to, like, prove that women are greater than men, or, like, or we're equal, jokes like that. And who else is doing, like, Eliza Schlesinger. And, but I've always... Okay, what was the question again?
I didn't know, I was just saying, like, I for some reason, because of, like, a lot of female... And there's nothing wrong with it, but... Like, there are a lot of female comics, like, as a man, like, I don't know a whole lot of female comics that I can necessarily, like, get into or identify with. Because a lot of them are like that, and I want to. I want to find...
because they talk about their vagina?
Because not because they talk about their vagina, but because, like, most female comics that I've heard are very female-centric.
Like
or
who?
It's very, like Amy Schumer, or, you know, people like that who are super, like, all about, like, females, and... It's like, it's funny, like, but there's people like Christina Pajitsky and like
Chelsea Peretti is hilarious.
I don't see, that's the thing. That's what I'm asking. Like, I want to know about female comics who aren't like
Natasha
Leggero, sticky, like I'm a girl.
Well, you're a woman, so there's always gonna be a girl joke.
Of course, yeah,
for sure. But as far as being a girl joke and being relatable to just like it just being funny as an observer, like watching them perform. Like Chelsea Peretti has a bit about how she's just walking down the street. And then some guy is like leans in and is like, make sure you stay safe. And she was like, you know what? I did feel safe until you said that to me. So it's like, as an observer watching that, that's hilarious.
Super hilarious.
So Chelsea Peretti, Natasha Leggero. Oh, there's tons of like women.
Okay, I've heard of Natasha Leggero.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
See, I'm just an idiot. I just need to know like more. I just need to find out about more female comics. Like, there's some that I think are funny, and there's some women who are just like crazy who I think are funny, like Esther Koo, who's like I think is a total nut job, but she's just hilarious. I don't even know if she's a stand-up comedian. She's just crazy. Yeah. I mean, like, what's the other girl with all the tattoos?
Margaret Cho.
Margaret Cho's fucking hilarious.
I love Margaret Cho because she just doesn't give
a
fuck. And I love her spirit. Yeah, I love her. Yeah.
She's hilarious. The first time I saw her tattoos of like, I think she has like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln like on her thighs. Like, what the fuck? And they're huge, beautiful portraits.
Oh, you know what? She was talking about when she was younger. When she talked about sex on stage, it was very like anti-sex. A lot of comics would be like, "Oh, it's when I have sex, it's gross." It's really like shitting on themselves.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like she's trying to change her jokes where she's pro-sex. Like,
Yeah.
now I think it's best to just start accepting that you're lying to yourself. When you're a fat, ugly dude and you're having sex, you're having a great time. Stop lying to yourself and stop being like, oh, when I have sex, it's so gross and it just No, you like it. You like it. You
fuck
sick fuck. You like it. So it's just like now, just accept. Like now, I like her because it's just like just accept the reality of things.
Yes.
You like sex. Okay, then talk about that. You like sex. Go talk about it. And I think that I love Margaret.
I know. I know. I think that's hilarious too. And the little movies that I've seen her in like pop up are really funny. Yeah, no, I love all that stuff. I know you were at the Tempe Improv, and I'm bummed out that we missed that. And I don't.
Oh no,
why.
I have tons of shows coming up
Do
that
you
you guys.
Okay,
can
we'll
go.
talk about those at the end. I'm just really excited because I really want to go out and I want to see you somewhere. Like I want to open mics. Like okay, so I was talking to Nick, and I can't pronounce his last name.
I don't know.
He's another stand-up comic, and I'm gonna get him on the podcast eventually, and he can pronounce it for me. But I was talking to him about stand-up. And I was just talking about how, like, yeah, you know, anytime I'm hanging out with Jen's always like, you're so into it, why don't you just try to do it? Like, why don't you just whatever? And I'm always like, oh, you know, I can make excuses. And he's like, you should just, have you ever been to an open mic? And I was like, no. He's like, if you go to an open mic, I guarantee you'll leave the open mic being like, I can totally be funnier than all these people, and, like, write a bunch of shit down and, like, go out there on stage. He's talking about how a lot of open mics, you just see, like, a bunch of shitty comics that make you want to try harder. And I thought that was interesting, but I've never been to one, so I don't know about the validity of that.
Yeah, well, we're all shitty because it's open mic number one.
Yeah.
Because you should be trying new material.
Yeah.
And that's the best place to take risks. So sometimes it might be uncomfortable when you see a comic. I saw one comic do his set in a British accent, and man, I could not sit through it. But that's the place where you should be taking risks. Uh-huh. Go and be stupid. I love open mics.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of us may be shitty, but open mics are great because if you put in so much work and effort into your jokes, and you know the countless nights of people not laughing or getting it, and you're just like, why aren't you guys connecting with me? And then finally when you're at a show and it connects because you've been doing it so many times and it becomes a muscle, and then you know what not to say, what to say, and you rewrote it. Then when you go on a show, it's flawless. It's like, awesome. It looks like you just made it up on the spot. Yeah. So I don't, and I think that's how most comics see it. It's called the grind. We call it the grind, just like doing it. So it's shitty if we just, describe the grind like a work. It's, you do it every day. It's annoying. You see the same people, you hate them, and you're annoyed that this thing isn't working, and people are not laughing, but then when you keep doing it, you get better at it.
Yeah, we're like, so is there an open mic like every night of the week?
Every single night.
Where do you go for that shit? Like different places every single night?
Yeah. Okay, so let's just do tonight. Tonight is Wednesday.
Okay.
There's 3 open mics. There's one on Mill Avenue called 4 on 4, I think it's called.
Is that the name of the place?
4 and 4, something. 4 and 4 place.
Okay.
And then you have one in Chop and Walk in Scottsdale. Okay. And then you have one in Glendale called The Nest. So a lot of them, they'll work in trios. So like this starts at 6, this starts at 9, and this starts at 10.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if you are if you want to do the grind, you hit up all 3. And then work on your,
That's awesome.
And it's so because then it makes it faster.
Yeah.
As far as like progression, right? So by the time maybe so this is Wednesday. So if I did a new material tonight and then went and worked on 3, which I highly doubt because I'm not gonna do that. Yeah. Because it's like Glendale. Glendale's super far. Yeah. I'm not gonna. But if you were to do all 3, then by the third mic, your joke is already you already know the feel of the joke. You already know where it gets the hit. So by Friday, you have a solid joke that you can use in an actual show and people will with an actual audience. So, what did that guy say, Nick?
I don't know. Obviously, he was being a dickhead. So anyway, but
yeah, I mean, it does motivate you to. I feel like stand-up comedy is more of it's like a golf game.
Really?
Because I think a lot of us is really self-loathing. We're very hard on ourselves, so it's more of a game of golf. Like, we don't judge each other as much as we really judge ourselves.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Definitely a motivation to be a better writer for yourself. Like, when you're like, oh, why did I say that? Then you go home and write.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love though. I think that's one of the things that I connect with so much and that I like so much about comics is the like psychotic work ethic.
Oh, I know it's like this weird, crazy addiction.
I love it. I love that.
Because we're so insecure and we're full of shame, like when we miss a night, we get a little bit hard on ourselves, and it's almost like this more push, and it drives us crazy.
I love that.
We love it.
That dirty shame feeling of not doing. For real though, that dirty shame feeling of not doing enough, you could cover my face with it. Like I love it. Like
but I will say this: like, I hate the idea of romanticizing, like, writers being really sad.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Like, they have to do drugs and drink a bunch of alcohol to be inspired, but
that's different. Though.
But when you're in the right place, that's different.
Yeah.
The grind is like, well, it's just like any job. You have to fucking do it.
Well, I relate to like constantly like perpetual motion because like I'm in 2 bands now. I have a podcast like and then I'm working.
Yeah.
Like fucking some crazy amount of hours at the same time. So it's like I have all these different things that I'm constantly working on. I love that. So I think it's one of the reasons when I heard comics talking about the grind and I hear them talking about hitting all these different places and working on all this stuff constantly and never stopping. That's one of the things that makes me like, that's so fucking cool. Like I like seeing people working their asses off, especially when it's for something entertaining. Like, like I don't know. It's some people would be like, no man, you should be working towards like this politics or like something like that like means something in the world. Like fuck you, entertainment's so important. Like I think entertainment and creativity is what like matters.
Yeah, or just like I like seeing that in people too, where whatever that they're into, it becomes the world.
I love that.
And they become like this book of knowledge about it, and I love it too. I love going out. I like that feeling, and I'm gonna say it probably a little maybe a little shamelessly, but like I like it when people notice that I'm going out every night.
Fuck yeah.
I like it when like guys will put me on their show because I've seen you out. Like I see you do the hard work. Yes. Please,
like when it pays off, there's nothing wrong with that.
Please be on my show. Like it makes me feel good, and I think that's the way to go about it.
So I have to ask this because as of I haven't had a Comic-Con, so I haven't had anybody to tell these stories. So I have to ask you because this is the funnest shit ever for musicians too. Like worst show, like worst fucking ever getting in front of it. Do you have like a story of like that was just like so bad it was hilarious or whatever? You know what I'm talking about? Because the bands have that. Josh's is that he played a show at the Underground and the only people that were there were his parents.
Oh, he told me that, but I'd rather do that than. Okay, so I went up. I was young and 21, and in my little heels, with my dumb little jokes that were not fucking funny. We're just like, oh look, I'm a hot girl with it. I'm just, oh god, I wish I could just shut myself up sometimes. Yeah. I was up there. It was at Copper Blues. Have you ever been to Copper Blues? In downtown Phoenix, Copper Blues. Well, it's a lifted stage. And, there's stairs that go up it, and then there's, like, the bar taps are in front of it, the bar, and then the seating area.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes I have music there.
That's cool.
And it's a round robins.
Yeah.
So I have to introduce the next comic. Okay. I'm on stage. I'm bombing. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, I don't know why. I don't know why at that moment I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill. But now I'm like, I know that you were going to bomb. You were terrible. But so I was bombing, and then I got a heckler, and the heckler was hitting on like, you're hot, and I was like, I'm not. You guys, I'm a shitty person. I'm not. Yeah. It's like, you're hot. I'm like, I'm not. You're hot. Yeah. Literally for a minute. The guy was lighting me, get off the stage, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's been my time, and I run off stage, and the guy's like, introduce the next comic!
Oh, no.
So I just bombed. Okay, so now I have to climb upstairs with my little heels and get up, okay, hi, I'm back again. The next comic, and I introduce the next comic, and my feet is sweaty, and I'm climbing down the stairs, and I fall. Oh. But But no one saw that. That one was just for me.
Okay, that was just for you. Yeah,
but
I
still, like, that was just, I hated myself even more. I'm
that's
like,
so
why?
bad.
And I just keep going back to that night. I'm like, do I want... I'm very, like, self-aware. I'm not going to deny... I can't be like, I'm ugly, because then people are like, fuck you. You don't understand the life, you know? So now I have to, like, own up to it. Like, now I'm more aware of the things that I say. I can't just... Because I keep going back to that moment, I'm like, okay, I look like this girl. Now what am I going to say?
Yeah.
Now, because I look like this girl, do I want to talk about... doing cocaine and fucking old guy? Do I want to be that girl on stage? Yeah. That's just like I don't want to be that girl. Yeah. So that's the worst moment is the moment that I keep going back to. Like, do I want to be that girl? No. Okay, keep writing. Fuck, I don't want to be that girl. I don't want to be that girl. So it's always that constant like running away from that really bad experience.
Yeah. That's fucking... The fall at the end is just so...
That was for me, too. And it reminded me, don't wear heels.
Don't wear heels. No, that's awesome. I'm glad that you're taking an approach now that's much more, like... It just sounds like you're working harder as far as the... what's the word I'm looking for? Just the... How good, like how intelligent the jokes are, or how interesting, how the format of the jokes.
Yeah. Or
that's what I see that as a comedy fan. There'll be certain jokes that I hear, and I'm like, that format was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, you know, sometimes I might not be funny, but I want to be at least clever.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's not a funny joke, and if you don't laugh, I hope that you appreciate that it was. Oh, yeah. Well, that's cool.
Jimmy Carr will do that sometimes. I don't know, like he's another British one-liner, and every once in a while he'll do a joke where I'm like, ha. I see what you do. You know what I mean? It's one of those like little.
Yeah.
But so I love that shit. So contrastly, then, what was the best show?
The best show. Okay. Okay, so actually the best show that I've ever had was actually recently, probably in March.
The improv show, right? Was the improv show? Because I heard that was really good.
Yeah, I hate to say it because, like, you know, you bring people out there. Everyone is forced to bring someone out there, right?
Yeah.
So you're bringing people that know you. So, of course, they're going to laugh.
Yeah.
So it's cheap laughs, you know? But my parents don't fucking just laugh. They're Asian. They don't understand, like, humor, you know? So when I got off stage and I'm like... When they were really proud of me, I knew I was doing... Whatever I was doing, I needed to keep doing it because it even made my parents laugh.
Yeah.
So whatever I'm doing, I'm making... It's so relatable that even my parents... I need to keep doing whatever that is.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the best where I like crushed or killed and so many people laughed. It was just a moment where I was like... Oh, fuck, I'm doing the right thing. Like, I'm doing it right, and I'm going to keep doing whatever I'm doing at the moment.
I totally understand that moment. That moment's so
It's not
fucking
like
awesome.
People were like, yeah, fuck it, you did so good. But it was just like this moment to myself where I'm like, yes, my parents love it. I'm doing the right thing, and you keep doing it.
That's amazing. No, that feeling cannot be beat by anything. Because I've had those before, too, and it really is the best thing ever when you see, like, everything paying off. And, like, like, I know, here's the thing, though. I'm in a band, so, like, I can always blame shit on Austin or Josh. You know what I mean? Like, whereas, like, if you're a stand-up comic, it's all you. It's all you. Like, I can't even be in denial that it was anybody else. You can't blame the mic for sucking.
You can't even blame the audience.
Yeah, you can't blame the audience, exactly. You can't, like, because I've heard that, like, I've heard people do that before, where, like, oh, you know, the audience just, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, fuck you, the audience. Like, it's not their fault. Like, it's not, you can't blame them for not being hip enough or whatever.
Yeah, or not understanding.
Yeah.
Because it's you that maybe put it in a way that they didn't understand.
Yeah.
You know, and, yeah, I think that's, but it's hard to, because there's a lot of self-hatred on that, because we're so hard on ourselves, you know? But at the same time, it's, I'd rather be that, because I can't control another person to do what I want them to do, you know? But I can control what I can do, so that's easy. I like that it's a one-man sport.
For sure. Yeah, there's plenty of times where I want that. There's plenty of times where I'm like, man, I wish I could just do all this myself and be the only person responsible and yada, yada, yada. But I mean, whatever.
And as far as like doing creative things, I'm free to do whatever I want.
Exactly, which is really, really nice. And like, even in a band, even if I did have shit by myself, let's say you get successful and you sign to a label.
Yeah.
Like, unless they're a really cool label,
they'll let you do whatever, but I highly doubt it nowadays.
If it's a really like it's basically with labels, the bigger you go, the less control you're gonna have over your own shit, which sucks. But I love the feeling of just I got it. Like, I finally, like, this is the first time it worked, because that's definitely happened. Like,
by the way, you're a great bass player.
Thank you.
And you know what I really appreciate? I really appreciate that you like playing the bass.
Yeah.
So many bass players like, yeah, I play guitar.
They
like whisper like, yeah, I play bass, but I play guitar. Like
no,
yeah,
bass
you're
is
just
my
like,
instrument of choice.
play bass.
Yeah, that's what I really love to do.
That's and I was like, and I told Josh, I'm like, you need to start getting people who actually like playing their instruments.
Yeah, I know, because we're looking for another addition to the band, because Josh just keeps writing more and more fucking complex shit. So like, we need to keep adding.
It's so
people.
Great. He's so out of control creatively. I love it.
I feel bad.
He's turning into a madman, and I love it.
There's gonna be a point where I'm gonna have to be like, okay, but right, we can't have a full quartet with us every night, right?
But that would be so cool, wouldn't it?
But like,
wouldn't it be so cool?
It would be. Man. So, anyway. So, like, yeah, I love the feeling of, like, I fucking got it. Because that happened to us. We went on tour. We played, like, 4 shows, and they all sucked for one reason or another. And I lost my wallet and my fucking phone, and it just sucked. Everything was bad. And then we came back, and we played a show on, like, a fucking Tuesday or something. When we got back from tour, we weren't expecting it to be anything because, whatever. It was a Tuesday. We just got back from this tour that sucked. And it was easily, like, our top at that time, and it was so nice to be like, oh, okay, like that was just bad luck. Like we got it. Everything's gonna be cool. Like, and for any kind of artist, that's always a great thing, especially if you're a comedian and you're working for the approval. I mean, every artist, let's be real, they're all working for the approval of others if it's an entertainment kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but with,
like, let's face it, we're all dancing monkeys to society.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But with comedians, like, I have a band behind me. I can't hear what the crowd's doing. I can see them maybe not paying attention but they always obligatorily clap at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my dog's all. But everybody at least does like a woo at the end of the song.
Yeah.
Comedians, not so much.
Oh, okay, this is my favorite topic.
Okay.
First of all, this is the reason why I love stand-up comedy, is because it's the most honest art form.
Yes.
People are so, like, they can't...
Maybe that's what I like about it.
They can't help but be honest by not laughing.
Yeah.
And then I appreciate that, because then, you're not running around, like, in your head delusional, like, oh, yeah, I'm fucking good, when really you suck.
Yeah.
You already know right away that you suck. And it's like, thanks, I'm going to work on that later. Like, I appreciate the fast response. I like that. Yeah. I actually like silence, because now I'm like, okay, I understand it.
Yeah.
And then also, if you like can conquer silence, then you can use it to like make people laugh.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, there's people like
people who just don't say anything, and then they're like.
See, that's something that like people who aren't that into it don't get. Is a really good comic. It's like he's like a chess player or a fucking some kind of like athlete, and as much as they can work certain things in a certain way to pay off perfectly, and the things that are just done so flawlessly, then so smoothly that you don't even see that that silence was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And when it works, it's like fucking perfect. I love hearing that.
I know. There's this kid. Okay, sorry, Avery. I'm going to give him a shout out. His name's Avery Gingery.
Okay.
He's 17 years old, and he's fucking killing it.
Okay.
Especially Tristan Boley. There's like these 2 like high schoolers that are like, we're just amazed. Like, you have to go to school the next day. This is so crazy. You're on stage telling jokes and hanging out with like 20 to 40-year-old people. But Avery, he does his thing, and he's so badass because he plays with the cadence of the way he speaks. So he'll talk really slow like this. All right. And then he'll just just play with the silence and make it really just drawn out, and like it kind of just leaves people on the edge of their seats because they're like, God damn it, just finish your sentence, finish your sentence, boy. And then he does, and it pays off, and it's so worth it.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, I love it when people are not afraid of like silence and the quiet, and then they actually use it to their advantage, and that's so cool that you can see that too.
Yeah, like I'm seriously obsessive over all that stuff. I guess, you know what, and you brought up something that I never even thought about it being an honest art. Like, I never thought about that before, but it really is. Like, it's a true, pure, like, if it's not working, it's not fucking working. And I think that's something that, because I forget, like, I'm very, very much a purist. I like all my shit to be really as pure as possible and real as possible. And I never even thought of made a connection. Like, that's probably why I like stand-up comedy so much, or one of the things I like about it.
Yeah, because no matter how absurd or real you are as a comic, you're still going to get an honest response from an audience member.
And you have to be good. There's no comic, like, okay, so you have bands that suck shit.
But they still have, for whatever reason, they have like 1,000 fans. Like,
millions.
How?
Yeah, exactly. Stand-up comics, you can not like a stand-up comic, but they're fucking good. Like, it works.
Yeah.
Like, if it's working, then it's working. Like there's certain comics that I don't like or I just don't understand. But if they're filling up arenas, you can't say all of those people are just stupid.
Yeah,
like
because they're getting something that maybe you're not connecting with.
Yeah, because there is a certain air of pretentiousness that I've definitely been guilty of in the past, where I'm just like, what fucking idiots are into that comic? But then it's like, no, fuck you. Like, it's working. They worked hard, and this is one of those things that, like, very rarely is there a comic who, and I can't even think of one off the top of my head, who, like, was an actor and then became a comic and it worked out. Like, like, unless they really worked at it. Like, there's actors who started out as actors and became comedians.
You know Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
So when he was, and then he took a break, and then he came back, he had a whole documentary of him just bombing.
Yeah.
You know, and he had this huge pressure, like, oh my God, it's Jerry Seinfeld, he's gonna be awesome. But he wasn't awesome. Yeah. So it's him, like, finding himself again, and it was so cool to see, like, one of the greats just, like, kind of trying to get his foot back into things.
But there will be, right? There'll be an actor or someone who's funny on a TV show, and they'll go to a spot like the Comedy Store or something,
and
it just fucking sucks. Yeah, or
it's like, your day job.
Yeah, like, and everyone expects them to be funny. Or you have it the other way around, where someone plays a family man on a TV show and then just lights it up on stage.
Oh, like Bob Saget.
Yeah. There's plenty of people like that who are like Donald Glover is like that too. Like,
God, he's so annoyingly talented.
I love.
Did you hear his new music?
I love it.
Oh my God, it's like this funk and but like it sounds legit of its time.
It's so good.
Where I was like, oh, what band is this from the 70s, Josh? No, this is Childish Gambino.
Yeah, I love it. But like, I remember him talking about because I loved his show Community. I loved it, and I remember him talking about how, like, I come on stage and everybody expects me to play, I don't remember the name of the character, but I remember to play the character, and like then I come out here and I'm like, look at my dick, and like he's just like,
yes, I remember seeing that.
I think that's in his stand-up, in one of his stand-ups. I think it's on Weirdo.
Like he got asked to do a clean show, but it's like, do you even know? Did you just listen to my set?
Exactly. But even on his like he did like YouTube videos and stuff like that back in the day, and even those are really like raunchy and stuff. So I don't know. I love that. I love when people defy expectations. Like with bands, Blink-182 back in the day, and they do it now too, but who gives a fuck about them anymore? Back in the day, like everyone would hear like rock show on the radio, and they'd take their kids out to see them. And then in that era, they have this giant metal like pyrotechnic that just said "fuck" in flames. Like that's all it was, and giant flames said "fuck" across the stage. So like these parents would bring their little kids to see Blink-182, and it was "fuck." So like I love that.
I love stuff like that. Yes, you know what? I love it when I see. Well, this is something really fun for like a local comic.
Yeah.
Because when you see each other so much, you see each other's material often, and so we start laughing.
You see it evolve,
but then when they start to take risks, I'm gonna shout all these people out can check them out.
Yeah.
There's this guy David Case. I've known him for a long time, and one day he decided to tell all his jokes in a Nacho Libre hat, like mask. And then he had this crazy voice, but he told all the same jokes, and it killed. So you get to see, like, oh my god, maybe history is being made right now.
Right?
You know, like, you're being part of something that's like
that.
an experience that people, not everyone can experience. You know, like, I would have loved to have seen, like, Maria Bamford start.
Oh my god, I
like
love
when
Maria
she first
Bamford
started,
so much.
Just like any famous comic when they first started out, I just would want to see them in the moment where they just got it.
Yeah, in the moment when she starts doing all her little voices of her mom and stuff. Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's gonna be something good. Boom. You know, you could just feel like,
I want to see her. She's coming here soon, I think.
She was in Tucson.
Oh, she was just here. Okay, I missed it. Yeah.
Yeah, you missed it.
She's fucking hilarious. And like the thing about Maria Bamford is like I remember like I'm a big audio guy, so I usually listen to more comedy than I watch. Now, not so much because I have Netflix, but back in the day, for sure, I was listening to more because it was easy for me to just go to Pirate Bay and like pirate like a whole discography by a comic. But I remember with Maria Bamford, she put out a Netflix special that was just her performing in a living room in front of her parents. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
That's so psychotic. Like, it's so artistic and weird.
I know, and I hate that she did that first.
I know. You would have been the perfect person to have done
that,
too.
My parents love my stuff. No, but she's great. You know, that's such a great idea. Hold on, I had to text my mom. She's texting me.
You're good.
Speaking of parents.
Speaking of parents, yeah. Yeah, Maria Bamford's one of those comics, too, who I've shown her. Either you get it or you don't. I've shown her to friends, and people are like, okay, I guess. But like,
she's great because you're just so astounded that this little petite blonde girl talks like this, but when she gets into her characters, her whole body changes. She becomes the person, and it becomes a different... You're seeing someone completely... Her voice changes. Not only does her voice change, but even her body language and the way she like moves her face, it's almost identical to what you would see in real life on another person, and you're like, whoa, that's impressive. Yeah, she's hilarious.
But like, I just love comedy as far as the crazier it gets, the better it gets. But there's also some people who I loved at first, but then stopped liking, not necessarily because like the Blue Collar Comedy Tour, where I just like my interest changed. But then you kind of see the bigger picture, like I feel like David Cross. Like, I liked David Cross a lot in the beginning, and then I was just like, oh, you're a dick.
That's how I felt with Sarah Silverman.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I was her number one fan.
Yeah.
No, I'm still her fan, and she definitely, like, she helped me in the beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
But then I grew up.
Yeah.
And I found other things, and I'm no longer interested in her. Sorry. I love you. But, like, I'm like, into... Like, thank you for interesting me back then, but now it's like, I'm not really into anything.
It's kind of the music, too. One of the first albums that I ever got was Three Doors Down, A Better Life. I'm now fucking listening to that anymore.
Silverstein.
Yeah, dude! Me too! My God. Dude, okay, so all that Victory Records shit that came out back then, I loved it! Like, all that, okay, you have to remember, I'm from Ohio, so Hawthorne Heights was like the band. So,
is that also what's also there, like the Until the Day I
Story of the Year?
Story of the Year, yeah.
So like,
I spilled my blood for you. They were so intense, and I was like, I think I was 13. I was like, I get it.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Spill your blood for you. Yeah.
Hawthorne Heights was like. So they're from Dayton, and not very many things come from Dayton. Dayton is like in the far southwest corner of Ohio. You're almost to Michigan, Kentucky, something. Anyway, you're far down there. I've been drinking. My geography's all fucked up. I think you're almost to Kentucky. So, they were from like 10 minutes away from my hometown. So they were the hometown heroes. Like Hawthorne Heights were the big deal. So, you know, the venues that I played back, because I was in like a metal band when I was 15, and we played all the same venues that Hawthorne Heights used to play when they were getting started, and they were such a big deal. And looking back now, those songs are so cringy.
Oh, God!
But they're like the most extreme example of cringy. Yeah. Some of that shit I can still listen to. Like, I can still get away with like Bloody Romance by Senses Fail. Like, that's a cool song.
Okay, yes, Senses Fail. I remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, some of it I can still listen to, but Hawthorne Heights was one of the bands. But Silverstein too, like that Discovering the Waterfront.
I can still
album.
listen to some of Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah, Taking Back Sunday aged, I think, pretty well. I think My Chemical Romance aged somewhat well.
Yeah, I can listen to some of this. He has really great vocals.
He does.
He's very open.
Yeah, I loved all that stuff, like Aiden and like what was that other huge?
Honestly, I only got into them because all the guys I thought were cute were into them.
Yeah, all the scene guys.
Yeah, they were like they were remember girl pants? They didn't even have skinny
hell
shoes.
Yeah.
Remember they had to wear actual girl pants.
Yep.
Before they started making for men.
I remember that.
Like, they wore girl pants with, like, the shoestring around their waist. Just to prove how skinny they are. I don't know. That was so hot. I just wanted to bang a bundle of sticks. Just
a bunch of sticks.
I just wanted to just bang them all.
A bunch of sticks with guy liner.
Yeah, dude. Their hair was straight.
I always wanted that. So when I was, like, 15, all I wanted was to be one of those guys. I wanted to be an emo dude with, like, the swoopy hair and the black hair. I used to wear guy liner all the time. Like,
oh God!
I did in the fucking freshman year, 8th grade, and a little bit in the freshman year before I moved out here, because I knew that shit was not gonna fly when I moved out here. But in the small town that I grew up in, like, I was the weird kid. You know, we didn't like now 9th grade. You see a fucking shit ton of those kids. They all wearing the weird tails, and they're all
sure,
like,
yeah, they're rocking it.
Yeah, but not back when I was like not in the shitty town that I grew up in. So. Like, I thought I was so fucking cool, and then,
I was way too giggly to be emo.
Really? Yeah. See, that's the thing, is, like, I was not an introvert by any means. Like, I had the most friends that I've, like, now I have...
Just picturing you being bubbly with, like, eyeliner, and trying to be sad, but you're really, like, a happy person.
I wasn't, like, happy,
and
but
everyone around you is just really sad and emo, and you're like, I'm really friendly, and I'm mad.
Like, I wasn't necessarily bubbly, but I was social.
Yes.
And, like, and it was just weird because I'd wear the black nail polish and the eyeliner. One time I wore mascara a couple times just out of curiosity. But, like, yeah, I was in a Marilyn Manson. I still have on my arm, it's really faded. It's, like, right here. There's, like, 3 lines for a Marilyn Manson M that someone carved into my arm when I was, like, 14.
Yeah.
Like, I was so into it. But, like, that's one of those things. I always wanted that, but instead I had, like, this big, goofy, like, blonde, long, like, huge, wavy, curly hair.
Oh, yeah, like, you looked more like a skater.
I looked more like a skater and a surfer, which is what I was. I was a skater, hardcore. I was always a skater when I was a teenager. But I wanted to be, like, this, like, you know, this
I was
cute
a skater
emo
too.
boy, you know? I wanted to be, like, a frail emo boy, but I was kind of like a, like, relatively broad, slim skater dude.
You know, my brother was like that too. Like, he wanted to be like Billy Joe Armstrong.
Yeah.
Just like tight jeans and like eyeliner and like don't want to be an American idiot.
Yeah.
You know, he just wanted to be that. But he realized that, like, we go to a doctor all the time, and the doctor's like, dude, your body is built to be a linebacker. Like, you're naturally muscular, and you hold on to weight really good. Like, you should use this and be an athlete. My brother's like, I just want to write music. I just want to get all the ladies.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
No, you should be an athlete. I don't want to run.
Just want to run away from all my problems.
It's amazing. But then now he's getting into it.
Oh, I know.
It's getting really sexy.
A lot of that.
I know that's my brother.
Your mom's going to be like, I knew it.
I knew it.
No, Josh, like, he got skinny, but, like, it's so funny because he always, and I'm gonna out him to the 30 people who listen to this, but, like,
hey, 30 people.
Yeah, so he always, like, he looks great, and he does do a lot of work, but he didn't start working at it until it automatically started happening because he just stopped being able to eat. It got to a point where he was just too broke and he lost weight by virtue of not being able to eat.
I'm like, you did have a head start by poverty.
Exactly, by poverty. And then I think what happened was once he physically saw that he could lose that weight, he's like, oh, cool, this is possible. And now it's fucking great. Like,
now he's doing it healthy. There was a moment where I was a little worried that I'm like, are you anorexic?
Yeah, I know, me too. But now that he's living back with your parents, you know, he might get that comfort chub back together.
That's what happened when I moved back in. But but then he'll get back into.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But that's fucking hilarious. So, like, what's your favorite place to do stand up around the valley?
Okay, as far as
some of your favorite places.
Okay, I love them all. Okay, I'm very active, so I know a lot of all.
That's fine. I don't even know any.
Okay,
I know the Improv, Stand Up Live, Stand Up Scottsdale, and Ha-Ha's, right? Is that one? So no, that's
as far as like
that's in LA. Never mind.
Like performing
or open mic, doesn't fucking matter.
Okay, open mic. Well, I fucking love all of them, but my favorite to perform in is Grand Avenue Pizza in downtown Phoenix. It's on Grand Ave, obviously, and just.
Oh, that's a cool spot. I know.
Yeah,
where
it's really fun. I like it because, I don't know. Every time I go there, it just feels really welcoming. Maybe it's the fairy lights in the patio. Yeah. I don't know, just like this welcoming vibe of like come in and sign in, and it's pretty like laid back, and I really like. Or on Saturdays, Queen's Pizzeria in downtown Mesa.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, like near the Nile, like that little pizza joint.
I love
on Saturday,
that spot. I love that downtown area.
They have comedy there, and Chris Zucker runs it, and it's such a great show. It's always been great. I've never been there and it was a bad night. There's always people there willing to listen to what you have to say, and it's great. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And there's mics I want to sit here and give them all a shout out, but it would just take forever because on Tuesdays you can go up 3 times a night sometimes. Yeah. There's just
do you do that? Have you ever done just like a fucking bunch in the night back and forth?
I have, yeah. When in March when I started getting back into it, I felt like fuck, I have to catch up.
Yeah.
So I did, but now I'll go to them, but then I won't go up because I'm so fucking tired.
Yeah.
I'm beat. But yeah, especially if you have a joke you want to work on.
Yeah.
I will definitely go up to two mics.
Was it like special going to? Because I know the Tempe Improv is like a historic. It is, isn't it? Is it not? I could be wrong, but I feel like Tempe Improv is one of the real historic stand-up venues in Arizona. That's the one that I hear about the most.
Yeah, I don't know much of history.
Yeah, I just know that
I just know as an open micer that being in a club is a great opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. I've only ever been to one stand-up club, and that was Stand Up Live.
How was it?
It's cool. It's really nice. It's not. I feel like it feels intimate, but only because the way the Stand Up Live is like you have the pit in the very front. I guess I'm in a band. I guess that's what I think. I'm sure there's a better name for it, but you have your main you have tables right up front, obviously, so they can do all the crowd work right there.
Sure. Yeah.
And then you have booths all around the sides.
Yeah.
So I was in one of the booths, so it very much felt like I was watching the performance. I saw Joe Coy, and he does a lot of crowd work. So I wasn't involved in the crowd work, which is fine. He's just making fun of drunk girls in the front.
Yeah.
But it was cool. That Frank Caliendo guy is the owner. The guy, remember him? He used to do all the voices. He was the big he would do different voices and faces and stuff like that. Stand Up Live was cool, but I feel like Tempe Improv is more what I would want. But I live literally across the street, but I never fucking go, and that's ridiculous because I need to go.
Well, okay, so I will tell you. I will tell you this. So as far as worst experience, I guess recently I had a worst experience where I got asked to audition for Kevin Hart's Comedy Central show. Okay. Called Heart of the City, where he goes to different cities and he'll pick out comics and they'll perform and he'll interview them and they'll be part of sketches and stuff. And so I was able to audition, and I was at Stand Up Live. And I was like, okay, I just performed from Tempe Improv, so I've been on a large stage, so maybe this will, but it didn't work out for me. Okay. It was just really weird, and I felt this weird. And I grind every single night, so I was so frustrated at myself because I'm like, you do well every night. What is going on? And there was this crazy disconnect, and I can hear everyone's table chatter, and I can hear everyone's
that
eating.
Must be so fucking infuriating.
And glasses clinging, and I just. Am I even loud? I feel like I'm not even loud enough. So I started talking louder. It just didn't, and I didn't connect, and I got laughs, and I didn't bomb per se. If you were a new comic and you saw me, you're like, oh, she did well. But to me, I did not do well because I just did not connect with the audience. If I see a person put their head on their hand like this on the table. I don't have them.
Yeah. And then you pay more attention to the one person you have.
Yeah, and then my friend, Jessie Johnson, really funny comic. She's hilarious. She was like telling me after the fact, and it was just offhand. We go to open mics together a lot, and sometimes we'll challenge each other to do stuff. And she'll be like, "Hey Jen, maybe address something in the audience before you start your set."
Okay.
So by saying like, "Hey, it's a good isn't it beautiful outside, guys?" And people are like, "Yeah, it's great," or like, "Hey, how are you?" And great, okay. Just by doing that, you have a connection, and that's what I didn't do. And then like going back to the Kevin Hart audition, I didn't connect with anyone. I just started I just was this person that was just like, and telling jokes. Like I wasn't even like trying to connect with them. So I just want to go back and just apologize to all of them. Sorry I didn't connect with you guys.
You missed your big break. You're fucked.
I know.
You're never gonna get anything ever again. No, you're fine. Yeah, that's fun. Like Kevin Hart's another one of those guys where like I know people who like pretentious douchebags who want to take shots at him for being popular, but it's like
why?
Right? He's not my.
You can't like hate him. He's not such a great guy.
He is exactly. He's a great guy. He's not my brand of comedy.
Yeah.
But like just because I like my shit really cerebral and dark, you know. Like I like twisted philosophers who tell their shit through jokes, I guess. But and he's funny. He's definitely funny. He's just not my guy. But I would never say he's. There are some comics though, like straight up, I'll tell you, like I fucking hate Gabriel Iglesias. Like I cannot stand just because I feel like I get it. You said that fluffy joke like 10 years ago, and it was like funny on that Comedy Central special.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But like. You know, because I'm not a comic.
I think that's universal. No, I think even as a comic, it's...
Yeah, like there's certain things where...
It's like, well, yeah, I respect you because you worked hard to get there, but why did you stop writing?
I know, and...
As a comic, it's like, why did you stop writing, dude?
And he, like... And I don't want to necessarily shout, to call anybody out as if this fucking, really, matters that much. But, at the same time, he, there's just certain things where, as an observer, I know I can't say shit, but there's certain things that I'm just that turn me off. You know what I mean?
You should let us know because we're just guessing.
Well, yeah,
we're on
with
stage
him,
just guessing.
With him, I'm sure he's a great guy, and all the comics, there's tons of comics who always talk great about it, and I'm sure he's a super big sweetheart. But I want to see new stuff all the time, and I want to see interesting, me, and as my dog's go crazy, as someone being I like the Bill Hicks, guys, who are really psycho rock star comedians. You know what I mean? But dude, Patton Oswalt, I don't know if you follow him. He's my favorite. I think probably right now. He's probably my favorite living comic. Besides maybe Jim Norton, who I also really love.
Yeah.
But I think you know what? I think I like Patton. I think more because Jim Norton he's naturally funny and he does a lot of just awful shit. But I feel like Patton is just brilliant. In this way. He's a nerd, and I love that. Jimmy's hilarious, but I really like Patton. I can see his absurd brain working through his stuff. And he posted this thing the other day because his wife died randomly last year. Oh, wow. She accidentally overdosed on not crazy. She wasn't getting fucked up, but it was opiates and some sleeping meds or whatever like that. She just fucking died.
She accidentally just mixed something.
Yeah, she's accidentally mixed something and died. And there's these he went about things in a very interesting way because he put out a special and an album right after it didn't come out till after she died, but he recorded it right beforehand. And he has this beautiful thing written on the back of his LP because there's a vinyl pressing. And this beautiful thing about just be happy and live life and laugh as much as possible. But he also there's this picture of Patton Oswalt, he won an Emmy. I think it was an Emmy or a Gold Globe or something like that. And he's sitting in a mall or an airport outside of KFC right after he won the award. So he's literally, and this is right after his wife died. He's holding the award like this in front of the KFC, and his suit's all fucked up, and he's just grieving and sitting there looking like he's crying in front of the KFC, holding the award. And I'm what the fuck is happening? You can tell that he's working through shit and trying to make things light of things, kind of.
Yeah.
But that KFC is so fucked up. Like, I don't know. I just love people who are, I don't know. I just love
I appreciate you understanding the really fucked up dark shit.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I don't understand when people get offended when they go to a comedy show.
I hate when people are offended by anything ever. Like,
I just
especially
don't
comedy.
understand because it's comedy, so get ready for politically incorrectness because these are coming from just average Joes who only these jokes come from their minds. So sometimes, you don't know everything.
Yeah.
You're just speaking from your own truth.
Yeah.
So it's so weird to just be offended by maybe what someone else, like, I have to watch what I have to say. Like, I can't complain, even though I'm a very insecure person, I don't feel like I'm allowed to talk about how insecure I am with my body.
Why?
Because outside I look great.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And other women have bigger issues, and so when they see me up there, like my body, then it's like,
but that's,
girl, you don't understand. But then
I guess I get that a little bit more than I would get. There's some, you know what I mean? Like, there's some people who are their job is to be offended by shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We have this victim culture where everyone's just like, ugh. And they want to be offended because if they get offended, then that means that they feel personally victimized. And if they're victimized, that means they get a platform to talk about, and then they can make everything about them, and they can make all the attention.
Because it's really that even goes back to like getting annoyed when a really attractive girl makes fun of her body.
Yeah.
Because like that's on you. You're insecure about that because you don't look like her. So you're mad that she doesn't understand, but that's on you. This joke that she is saying outside of herself is about her.
Yeah.
Like she, and that's like,
I would never think like, why the fuck does she? You know what I mean? Like I'm a dude. Like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, but I get that sometimes. So it's like I'm aware of that. So I try not to talk about it.
I know that dudes have to be really, really careful about what they say, obviously, especially in the political climate that we're in right now, and especially with the trouble that Daniel Tosh got into
with the rape.
Yeah, with the rape, which like I've heard some fucking rape jokes and like from professional headlining big comics, and that was not even like I've heard a lot worse, but his was more like. The thing with Daniel Tosh's rape joke was that it was very, very directed at that person, which is why. Like, did you know what it was? Did you hear what it was? The joke was basically like, it was definitely a little like tasteless, but he, like, I guess someone was he was making a rape joke or something like that, or he said like all jokes are funny or whatever. And this lady was like, rape jokes aren't funny, and he's like, wouldn't it be hilarious if like everybody's raped her right now? Exactly. So like, which I get why more people are upset about that one because like, that's actually it's about a specific person sitting in the audience. But still, like you're at a comedy club and you're fucking heckling.
But you kind of deserved it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
I mean.
She deserved a rape joke. She was asking for it.
She was asking for that rape joke.
Yeah.
No. She deserved that rape joke. She didn't deserve to be raped.
No, I totally understand.
Everyone.
But and it was one of those things where it was also like the wrong person. Like she blogged it and all this kind of shit.
God, you're just angry because you got called out.
Oh, I know. So it's one of those things where like, that happened years ago, but people are still talking about it.
Well, I think it's because when you how are they talking about it? Because it's so cut and dry. She talked when she shouldn't.
Yeah.
He made a little smart joke. She got mad and she tweeted about it, and everyone's like, "Oh no, she's a woman. Let's help her."
Yeah.
So it just like to me, it's just a joke.
And look, I am more.
Because I have a rape joke.
Really?
Yes.
For a girl, that's progress.
Well, my rape joke is because my mom said it.
Yeah.
She said, "Jen, why do you hang out with those comedian guys? They look like a bunch of rapists." And I'm like, "Mom, come on. Those rapists are good guys."
That's a great joke. That's a perfect.
And good rapists.
See, like, that's a great joke. That's a perfect fucking joke. That's hilarious.
Exactly. So, like, when you talk about these really dark shit, you have to, number one, you have to be smart about it.
Yeah.
You can't just, and I learned that because I talked about, like, really, really dark shit when I first started, but I didn't know how to say them. I just said them cut and dry, and it was too hard to hear. Mm-hmm. Like, people didn't want to listen. So it's fun to write
That's
really
hilarious.
dark shit. I have one about Josh. I might
Really?
just do my show.
I want to hear. No, I just want to hear the one about Josh.
And I asked this. I'm like, hey, can I say this? And he won't be offended. He was like,
Okay.
dude, say it.
Okay.
I'm like, one time I saw cut marks down my brother's right wrist.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. You're left-handed?
Wait, okay.
That's all I cared about. I don't care about his cut marks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so dark and so fast.
That's true.
Sometimes you don't even know it's coming.
Yeah.
I saw cut marks down my brother's right wrist.
Yeah, and you were concerned that he was left-handed.
And
That's
I was
hilarious.
like more surprised that he was left-handed than he was cutting himself.
That's fucking hilarious.
Do you get it?
I totally do. That's because I totally understand that. And it is weird that he's left-handed because he does everything else right-handed.
Well, I heard like left-handed people are like super creative and smart and shit.
Really, do those two things have to do with each other?
I really don't think so. I think
either.
people are just trying to find answers to things that are unexplainable.
Yeah.
Like my brother is just Josh.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the reason why he is the way he is because he just grew up with a bunch of women.
I think so too.
And he also grew up with a bunch of strong men, like stern men.
Uh-huh.
So he also has
like who?
that, like my dad.
Like your dad?
Like very opinionated and like doesn't give a fuck about what other people think. Like my dad is a Filipino man and he's conservative.
He's a Filipino immigrant.
And he's an immigrant and he's Republican.
And he works for the fucking government.
And he works for the
so
Isn't
it's like,
that weird?
I know.
But like both his kids are super liberal and like he just has to live with it. It's so funny because like now I know what you guys think. Like he's just very disappointed.
Yeah,
but
I know your brother always tells me that your dad's like super conservative. Or whatever.
He listens to country music. He drives a pickup truck. Isn't that weird?
It is weird, but it's anyway. So,
but that's what I love about him.
I love your family. I mean, you guys are all so much fun. Like I immediately felt so well because I was the new guy. I came in. Like, because Josh and Austin have known each other since the fucking son was born. And, like, everybody involved with the band all knew each other. Nathan and Andrew and all those guys all knew each other forever. So I was coming in brand new. I knew Josh from Facebook. Like, I watched his evolution from Josh Rocket to Josh Reject.
You know what? Honestly,
to Josh Capati.
Yeah, now that you say it, I don't think we started getting along because you brought somehow comedy was brought up and then we'd start talking. But honestly, before that, I didn't know what to say to you. I just said, hey. Yeah. But my parents, I'm very welcoming.
Yeah. Oh, totally are. I thought
but
you were
as far as
fun.
like connecting, I was like not the longest time, but like I don't see you guys often.
Yeah.
So, but when I
didn't before for sure because you were like whatever.
I don't know.
Were you living in California or something?
No, I was in a really shitty. I'm sorry. Relationship.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Because I didn't see you coming around until after that was over.
I was a mom for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then now I'm just hanging out all the time. And I love it. I love seeing you guys so often.
Yeah, it's super fun. I don't know when the first time you and I started like actually like talking or hanging out.
I don't know. You just mentioned Joe Rogan, and I was like,
that's probably what. That's exactly what happened.
I listened to the experience too.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
It's my guilty pleasure. Like I.
Oh, dude, it's not guilty. I don't let it be guilty. I listen to it like crazy. Even when you know what the guilty pleasure is? When he had Alex Jones on for 3.5 hours, and I listened and loved all of it.
Yeah.
That was because the guilty pleasure was like me listening to Alex Jones and being like, huh. And the other part of my brain be like, shut the fuck up, stop listening to him.
Yes, yes. I just love the way he just thinks.
Me too. I love it.
I just like
because
I'm into like conspiracy and I'm into like finding more finding things out about a certain subject and digging really deep and be like, whoa, like being like, fuck, the world is weird.
I know, I love
being astounded. And then he has like special guests that help answer these like questions that as a stoner you're like, what?
I know.
First of all, I hate that we're stereotyped as dumb, lazy people.
Who? Stoners?
Stoners.
Okay, yeah.
Because like I have all A's.
I think that's going away.
I am like and most of my articles, because I take journalism, has been front page.
Okay. Sorry, my girlfriend's trying to give me more beer, and I'm already like down my third one.
I know. How about give me a catheter because I need to take a piss.
I know, we're almost done. We're gonna wrap up in a minute. You can always just take. Hey, come here. What? You can always just like you can always just ask to pee. We're about to wrap it up anyway. We're almost at an hour and a half. So, but anyway, so.
He's kissing his girlfriend, not me.
So yeah.
We're on air, dude.
Liar.
Oh, dude, it's funny. Oh,
you gotta mention that. I'm single.
I have to say
single.
this. I was hanging out with that Nick whatever dude at the show in Pomona, California the other night, and there was we were all talking about drug tests, and we were talking about how our job doesn't drug test us, and like here's the thing, I love when funny people or comedians like just out of their back pocket just say something funny or
super
clever,
fast,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? And we're all like sitting there talking about drug tests, and this lady in front of us overhears us, and like we both work with kids, right? So we're both talking about how we both work with kids, but simultaneously, like I get drug tested, whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, we're all talking about it. The lady turns around and sees us talking about drugs and working with kids.
Oh shit!
And Nick goes, oh no, don't worry, the place I work with doesn't drug test, so we're all good. Don't worry about it. And I was like, that's fucking hilarious. Like as if that's what she's worried about. I thought that was so funny. I just love funny people. Like,
I love hanging out with them. Like once you start hanging, you get so addicted to the rapport.
Yeah.
And then you start like feeding off each other that when you hang out with sorry average people, but like just
normies, you fucking normies.
It's almost like not fun.
I understand that. Yeah, that's why I'm with the band. Like
that's why I like hanging out with just artists in general.
Yeah,
musicians,
me too.
Because they're really weird.
Yeah.
Like no offense to all artists, you guys are fucking weird.
Oh yeah, that's why I love. That's why I have this podcast.
Love it. Like it just takes me on a roller coaster. Like there's this chick that just moved in from LA, named Joyce Taus. She's a comic, and she's got this crazy energy about her where she's just like manic all the time.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you just like soak in that energy
Yeah.
and you start to feel it too, and you're like, whoa, girl, oh my god, like you start to get a little crazy yourself. I just love being and then there's a comic that's like really subdued and like just really chill, and you feel that.
Yeah, me too.
It's just like people are just so like artists. It sounds so pretentious when I say artists, but it's just in general they're just weird people, and and weird people bring interesting things and bring different perspectives and different insight, and
it's completely transformed my life.
It's just fun.
Like before I was in the band, I was working in a job I hated. I was constantly, and I have all of this documented, which is cool. At the time when I first got started with all of this, I was just writing in notebooks all the time because I worked at a job that was fucking easy and I could sit at a desk all day. So all I did was fill up. I would fill a comp book in less than a month, just every day. And it was good. It was good for me because it helped me kind of like just clear out my brain and rewire and kind of look at myself. It was kind of like a meditation almost, just looking at myself from the outside. And during that time I had nothing going on. Like I wasn't like with anybody. I wasn't dating anybody. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't have any friends because I wrote off most of my friends because the last girl that I was dating, like I was so involved in that I didn't want to do with anything else, and she fucking like made me not want to hang out with my friends because she was a manipulative ass. And then like all these things happened and I didn't have anybody. I had like one friend that I was getting stoned with every single night, and that helped. That was really important at the time. And that was it. And whenever I was not working, I was making mixtapes, like cassettes.
Yeah.
Like I would from vinyl records. That's how I keep myself busy. I needed some kind of creative output.
Yeah.
So because I didn't have any friends or anything, I was like, okay, well I'm gonna make these cool mixtapes and yada yada yada. And then from that, and that was in, I think that was around February of 2015 was when it was at its peak. January, February of 2015, late 2014. Band starts in March, April, and then it's just like boom, everything changes. I'm social. I'm going out. I'm hanging out with people. Like I have no choice but to hang out with people and talk to other bands and audiences, and my entire life on a dime just completely changes.
Yeah.
And now there is no other choice. Like, because I realized I like being social, and I like going out with people, and I like doing things. And at that time, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to write. Because I didn't know. I was afraid. I didn't have that comfort. And now I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go do shit.
Hell yeah.
And it's totally changed my entire everything. You know what I mean?
Because you meet more people and you actually gain more insight than just maybe studying in a room.
Yeah, you can't do shit. Your perception changes. Like, I'm such a better person than I was back then. I was such a pretentious asshole. I was such a hack. And now I'm so much more, like, just enjoying talking to people. I'm more open-minded. I'm more, like, lighthearted about shit. Like, every once in a while, I'll catch myself being like, hey, stop, don't be a dick.
And, you know, I think because I go out so often, and maybe because I hang out with these no-hold bars kind of guy, that I'm not afraid to be honest or transparent. Like, if someone wants to know something about me, I will tell them the truth. And even to my parents, like, I had to admit to them, like, hey, I love stand-up comedy. I'm going to do it for the rest of my life. Sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry I can't be, like, the nurse that you wanted me to be. I'm sorry.
Oh, they want you to be a nurse?
Like, I told them this, and then they're upset, but then they accepted it, and now they are my number one fans. Like, you know, like, I'm now, because of comedy, I'm just more open and honest, and it just brings more knowledge from other people and just life in general. Oh my god, I'm such a fucking stoner, man.
No, man, like, you haven't even talked about how it connects you with the universe.
Fucking love everyone.
No, that's how I've been. The more social I get, the more just kind of zen and cool I get with people.
But yeah, you meet new people, but what the most important thing is that you're listening to people.
Yeah, exactly. You're not just waiting for your turn to talk.
First of all, awesome that you have a podcast, because that's a huge thing about podcasts, is that you're listening and engaging to your guests. Yeah. And I think that's just a good skill to have all around. Everyone thinks you're so smart. It's just I'm not smart. I'm not smart at all, but the only reason why I come across as smart is because I'm just listening to what you're saying and I'm responding and reacting in a short amount of time.
Yeah, no, that's exactly, I mean, that's all intelligence is, though, is comprehension. Like, when you think about it.
Yeah,
like,
it's not, I don't know a lot of things.
You don't have to know, you don't have to have the works of, like, James Joyce in your head ready to fucking go to be intelligent. You have to, it's just, you're being, to me, intelligence has always been how you can use information and how you can use perspectives and experience. It's never been about, like, well, in stanza 56 in the poem, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, fuck you. That's not intelligence. Like, because I've known so many people. And the thing that taught me that, and this is what I like, the thing that taught me that was the valedictorian of my school, my high school, Williamsfield High School, was a fucking idiot. They were the smartest. They were like textbook the smartest kid. They had straight A's across the board, crazy GPA, graduated with all honors, but the fucking, just a dope. Just a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
and I
like
always
like a personality of like a wet noodle.
Yeah, a wet noodle, exactly. And there's this they had no perspective, no intelligent output. All they did was take in information, regurgitate it, and then that was the end of it. And I remember from that moment, that's when I learned, like, intelligence is not what you read in books, because this person's a fucking idiot, and they're apparently the smartest kid in the class.
Yeah.
So, anyway, tell me before we go, like, shit that you have coming up, like, that you can plug. This is going to be up within the next few days.
Oh, next few days.
So let's say I get this up by the weekend.
Okay. Well, in June, which is next month.
Perfect. That leaves me a lot of irresponsibility in time between.
Yes, I will be at Stand Up Live.
Fuck yeah, dude! Yeah. Hell yeah!
You guys have to come.
Is it 21 and over though?
Yes.
No. I know. At least my girlfriend's.
I wonder. No, but let me get back to you on that.
Yeah, I might be able to figure something out.
Yeah,
because we usually get that done.
Definitely come to that. And I'm all around town.
Fuck yeah.
Just follow me.
You.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Jennifer Capati, Capati. Finally, I get to do that.
I love your last name. It's like it feels like an onomatopoeia, like Capati.
You know, it sounds Italian. They're like, give it up for Jennifer Capati, and then I'm like, hey guys, what's up? Everyone, it sounds Italian, at least to me.
Yeah, no, yeah,
it doesn't sound Asian.
Everybody,
I'm Asian. If we're on,
you're vaguely
podcast.
Asian.
Yeah.
You're
well, on paper, I'm Asian.
Yeah. Is it? Like, I'm a fucking retard.
I thought I was a Pacific Islander because
me too.
the Philippines, because I'm Filipino, is in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
So I'm a Pacific Islander.
Okay.
But on paper, I'm actually documented as Asian.
That's weird.
Weird. I don't know. Anyways.
Fuck 'em.
It was really nice being on your podcast.
Thank you. I had a really, really great time.
I had a
This
good
is
time
the most
too.
that
And guess
I've
what?
ever
Your
drank
fly was down
on
the
a podcast.
whole time.
Oh no!
Hell yeah!
Thanks for that. So, yeah, and then this whole time I'm like sitting way above you too, so it's just
No,
like...
I wasn't waiting for it to. Don't worry, I wasn't. No. Don't worry, I wasn't waiting for it to come out. I was just like, when I was trying to find the appropriate time to let him know, and it was now.
It was now. Fantastic.
End, so.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This is
Hell
so much
yeah.
fun. I'm surprised that I would manage to like go through
And
so
can
many
I eat
beers
dinner
doing this.
with
Yes.
you guys? Hell yeah!
I have dinner. It's ready. It's on the table.
Fuck yeah!
Yes.
We're doing this dinner.
Yes.
Peace out. Thank you so much for
Bye.
listening. Have a great night.